Lewis Hamilton has just found something that could flip Ferrari's entire 2025 season on its head. It didn't happen on the track, and it didn't come from some dramatic radio message mid-race. No, it came after the dust settled. When everyone else moved on from Miami, Hamilton stayed locked in. Back at Maranello, digging through the data, running endless laps in the simulator, trying to understand why the SF-25 just refuses to behave. And then he saw it. Something hidden in plain sight. A pattern, a flaw, a detail that might finally explain why the car feels so unpredictable, so unstable, and so far off the pace when it matters most. It wasn't just a small issue. It was something big, big enough to shake confidence, big enough to raise eyebrows. But what's more telling than what Hamilton found is how quiet Ferrari has been about it. No press statements, no engineering deep dives, just silence. Meanwhile, Hamilton hasn't said much either. But when Lewis goes quiet, it usually means one thing. He's serious. And this time, what he's uncovered might be the key to either saving Ferrari's season or exposing a problem they're not ready to face. It all started with what looked like just another tough weekend in Miami. Hamilton qualified way down the order and spent most of the race stuck in traffic, wrestling with a car that just wouldn't respond. The SF-25 was all over the place, no grip when he needed it, braking that felt sketchy, and a rear end that seemed to have a mind of its own. Every corner was a gamble, and while fans were frustrated, Lewis was clearly even more so. After the race, Ferrari kept things calm. They told the press it was no big deal that they were gathering data, learning, improving slowly. But Hamilton wasn't buying it. He knew something wasn't adding up, so instead of taking a break or waiting for answers, he went straight back to Maranello. Back to the simulator, back to the numbers. He wanted to see for himself what was really going on with this car. And that's when things started to get interesting. What Hamilton and his performance engineer found wasn't just a small setup issue. It was something much deeper. After hours in the simulator and poring over telemetry data, they noticed a clear pattern. The SF-25 was behaving unpredictably because of how its floor reacted when the ride height changed. Basically, when the car hit certain speeds or track conditions, the floor would stop doing its job properly. That meant sudden grip loss, especially at the rear, and tyres wearing out way too fast. And this wasn't a problem that showed up during winter testing or in clean air on a perfect lap. No, this only came to light under real race conditions, when the car was loaded with fuel, battling traffic, and hitting bumps at full speed. That's when the issue became obvious. But here's the twist. Ferrari's engineers had already seen hints of this problem months ago. There were whispers inside the team that the aero platform was too sensitive, especially at the back of the car. But instead of jumping on it, they waited. They wanted more data, more proof, more confirmation. And that delay? It's what frustrated Hamilton the most. Because from his point of view, this isn't something you sit on. If you know the car has a problem, you fix it. You don't wait around and hope it sorts itself out. For a driver like Lewis, who's used to teams that react fast and push hard, that kind of cautious attitude just doesn't sit right. When Hamilton found out that Ferrari had known about this issue for a while but chose not to act, he didn't hold back. According to people close to the team, he immediately requested a meeting with the top engineers and team boss Fred Vasseur. It wasn't about pointing fingers or making noise. It was about demanding answers. He wanted to know why something this serious wasn't dealt with earlier. Why wait for more data when the problem was clearly affecting performance? Vasseur stood by his technical team. He told Lewis that Ferrari's approach was to be careful, to confirm everything with hard evidence before making changes. In his eyes, that was the smart thing to do. But for Hamilton, that answer only made things worse. He's been in championship-winning teams. He knows how fast F1 moves. And in his world, if something's hurting performance, you fix it, fast. You don't sit on your hands and hope it doesn't get worse. That difference in mindset created real tension, not just about the car, but about how the team operates. Lewis started to wonder, am I being taken seriously here, or just being told to be patient while they figure things out at their own pace? For a driver like Hamilton, patience isn't the game. Progress is. And right now, He's not sure Ferrari's playing the same game he is. And this is where things get really clear. The issue with the SF-25 isn't just about setup or driving style, it's built into the car itself. The floor of the Ferrari is designed in such a way that it only works properly when everything is exactly right. We're talking about tiny margins here. If the ride height is a little too high or too low, if the track surface isn't perfect, if tyre temps drift even slightly, the whole aerodynamic platform falls apart. The car becomes unstable, especially at the rear, and that's why Hamilton's been struggling with grip, cornering and tyre wear all season. Now, compare that to what Red Bull and McLaren are doing. Their flaws are much more forgiving. They've built in flexibility, not just literally, but in terms of how the car reacts under different conditions. If the track changes or the fuel load shifts, those cars still stay balanced and predictable. That gives their drivers way more confidence to push lap after lap. Hamilton doesn't have that luxury right now. The Ferrari only works when the stars align, and in a sport as intense as F1, that's a huge problem. Ferrari knows this. That's why they're bringing an updated flaw to Imola. It's meant to improve the rear grip and expand that narrow performance window so the car feels more stable, more often. But here's the big question. Is it enough? Or is it too little, too late? Because while Ferrari's just getting around to fixing this, Red Bull and McLaren are already planning their next steps. And if this new flaw doesn't deliver fast, Hamilton's frustration could go from quiet tension to something a lot more serious. So all eyes are on Imola now. Ferrari's updated flaw is coming, and it's supposed to fix the instability and help with tyre wear. If it works, it could make a huge difference. Hamilton could finally have the car he needs to fight at the front again. Better rear grip means he could push harder, make up lost time, and feel more confident throughout the race. That could turn things around for Ferrari in the 2025 season. It could even boost their chances to close the gap to teams like Red Bull and McLaren. But if this update doesn't work, it's going to be a major blow. It would confirm Hamilton's worst fears, that Ferrari is stuck in development limbo. They've been making small tweaks, but nothing groundbreaking. That would leave Hamilton feeling like the team just isn't moving fast enough to compete at the top. And that's the bigger issue here. It's not just about fixing the car, it's about trust. Hamilton needs to believe that Ferrari is evolving with him, keeping up with his hunger to win. Right now, it feels like they're taking their time while he's ready to attack. If that gap continues to widen, it could seriously affect his motivation for the rest of the season. Because if the team isn't pushing hard enough, why should he? So now, we're left wondering, did Hamilton just save Ferrari's 2025 campaign by uncovering this problem? Or has he exposed a flaw that Ferrari can't fix in time? The next few races will tell us everything. Imola will be the first big test for Ferrari's updates, but all eyes are also on Barcelona, where we'll get a clearer picture of whether they can actually close the gap to Red Bull and McLaren. But this story is far from over. If these fixes don't work, things could get even more tense for Hamilton and Ferrari. What do you think? Is Ferrari finally about to turn things around? Or is this the beginning of a much bigger breakdown? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit like if you're backing Hamilton, and don't forget to subscribe, because this season is only getting crazier, and you won't want to miss how it unfolds.